Welcome to today's webinar with Claystone Foods. I am Leila, one of the campaign managers here at Birchal. And just before we get started, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land I'm based on today. Birchal is based on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and we pay our respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. Now, how today's session is going to run. Stacey is going to take us through a presentation of the business, Alex as well, and that will take around 15 minutes, whatever it takes. And we're going to talk about how the idea came about, the numbers they achieved so far, the plans after the raise, and then we're going to switch to a Q&A session. So if you look at the bottom of your Zoom screen, you can see a little Q&A bubble. If you have a question during the session today, please pop it in the box and we're all going to answer at the end. Lastly, we are recording today's session, so if you have to jump off, it's fine. We're going to send the recording around afterwards. That's it from me. Now, very happy to introduce you to Stacey.
Thank you so much, Leila. I'm Stacey, and this is Alex. Alex is the Chief Operating Officer here at Claystone. So I guess a bit about Claystone in a nutshell is that we started Claystone Meats about 3 years ago. My husband and I have been, we're multi-generational farmers, so we've been farming our whole lives. And we wanted to offer a product out into, specifically when we started the Canberra market, that was really transparent and people could understand where their foods were coming from. They could connect with the farmers and they were able to get a really high quality product. So that's where it all started. So we started selling to one wholesale client about 3 years ago, thinking that it would just be something we did on the side of farming, and it really snowballed into a business where we now have a direct to consumer product line. We also have over 100 wholesale customers, and that's literally growing by the week. We also have now developed our own pet meal brand that we've just recently launched. So what has gone from a bit of a passion project to ensure that we can diversify our farming has turned into a multi-million-dollar revenue business, which is something that we are so grateful to our amazing customers for. And we're really excited to see where this can go. So I guess for us, it's so important to be able to offer a product that people are able to come and talk to us about. So we either farm and source only the best quality products, ensuring that the ethos of those meats are in line with the ethos of our branding. And from there, we realized that we had a byproduct that was really usable in our pet food. So we started realizing that after one of our working dogs got sick, that it's often the fillers and preservatives that are in pet food that create things like skin conditions, gastrointestinal diseases, and we started really researching pet food in Australia. And we discovered that there are much more Western style diseases in our pets than there were 30 and 50 years ago. And a lot of that is a result of the poor Western style diets that our pets are consuming. So we realized that we're only a small business with kind of 8-10 staff at that time. And we realized there were 3 and 4 of us already cooking for our pets. So we thought, well, why don't we cook for everyone's pets? So after a lot of R&D, we had a really great product that we have scientifically tested. It's just not a hack together pet food. It's a really great product that we can stand by. And as I'm sure you're all aware, the pet industry is an absolute booming powerhouse in Australia and internationally. So it's something that we're really excited to be on the forefront of in Australia. The whole food diet for pets is really a burgeoning market, and we're really excited and proud to be part of that from the start. So as far as I talk really quickly, so sorry. As far as for future plans and what we do after this raise, for us, we have bootstrapped this business from day one. We have worked really hard to get where we are, and we're at the point now that we are literally ready to take on the international markets. So after a really successful trade tour with Austrade to China last year, we have been negotiating with our chosen trade partner, and we have the ability to begin export as soon as our Australian government licensing is approved, which is a really unique position to be in for a business like ours. And we are working with not just one, but multiple trade partners. So we're really appreciative of the opportunities that have come our way, but that means we need to automate our processes. We need faster equipment, better equipment, smarter equipment, and we need to be able to do things on a really large scale and scale up really quickly so that we're able to meet the demand of not just the domestic market, but also the international markets. And that's true for human consumption food and for pet food. We don't freeze any of our human consumption food, and we'd like to take that nationally. It's something that is currently not done much, if at all, is the national shipment of not frozen meat. And we would really like to put some R&D into packaging to make sure that we can get our human consumption food on the national scale without having to freeze it. So yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, that's our plans for the short term. We're just moving facilities so that we are able to scale up at the drop of a hat, and we're putting processes in place to ensure that we are able to move quickly on the opportunities that are presenting themselves to us. So it's probably less than 15 minutes, but please ask lots of questions.
It's because you talk very fast. That's fine.
I do talk fast.
Opening up for you guys to ask questions now. In the meantime, I have some questions. But first of all, I love that you describe yourself as the sommelier for meat. I think it's a really good description of the business. And something I find really interesting about this offer is that you already proved the concept. You're not saying, I have an idea and I need help for that. You already have $2.5 million in annual revenue. You just need help to grow the business now, but you already proved the point, which is awesome for investors as well.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right, Leila. We have proven it in multiple revenue streams as well. We've proven it from a wholesale capacity and from a direct to consumer capacity, and also in the retail space. So we've really, we've future-proofed our business in that way, that we have been able to spread it ourselves a long way, and we've had success in lots of markets.
Yeah. And Stacey, why did you decide to do an equity crowdfund instead of the funding?
Look, I guess for us, our customers are the core of everything we do, and we wouldn't be where we are today without them. So we really wanted to allow people that have been with us from day one to be able to own literally a stake, and pardon the pun, in Claystone. We wanted to ensure that people, friends and family, but also people that have been seen us at the cold markets at 6 a.m. at -13. Those people are the people that we want to give the opportunity to make sure that they can get involved in something that they might necessarily have ever owned a share in their life, but it gives them the opportunity to get involved with a business that
Oops, I think we missed her for a bit.
and really.
You're back now.
Okay, cool.
It's a bit of a
So
it's a bit of an internal joke that once a week we meet, and this always has to happen, right? Either it's your internet or mine, but it's a thing.
yeah, 100%.
We got a question if this investment is in the parent company or just on the pet food company.
No, so it is in the parent. So it's in Claystone Holdings as a whole. So people get the opportunity to have investor incentives and the rewards that are Claystone Holdings as a whole. So from Claystone Holdings, there's the pet food company and the human consumption. So yeah, you get it all.
Beautiful. Where are your farms and processing based?
Yeah, so we farm on the Hoskinstown Plains, so it's just out of Canberra, and then we process at a facility in Cowra. So we transport the cattle all ourselves, and so we're able to minimize the stress and handling on the animals by making sure that we're following that process through ourselves entirely.
Beautiful. We have a big question here, but essentially they're asking if you can speak a little bit about your approach to animal welfare.
Yeah, so we use the farm has, so it's not really welfare related, but just so you get the context, we have a cattle stud as well. So we're able to get cattle back in by buying back calves from people that have bought bulls from us. So that means we're getting our genetics in. The importance of that is that we know the temperament of the animals we're getting is good. We don't have poorly temperamented cattle, so that makes them easy to handle. We handle all our cattle on with horses and dogs, and we're able to minimize the stress on the animals. They're around the horses and dogs all the time, so there's nothing that's unfamiliar to them. And then we just make sure we do everything slow and we take everything steady. So we understand the outcome is always the same when you're a farmer that has a butchery, but we like to make sure that we make the process as good as we can while those animals are alive.
Beautiful. One of the question is, how do you anticipate the distribution into the international markets? Are you going to have wholesale distributors or just retailers straight?
Yeah, so we've already been the number one trade partner that we're dealing with. She is a distributor and a wholesaler. She's a very big player in the market already. So the best part about why we've chosen her as our partner is we deliver to Sydney, and then it is out of our hands, and we get paid on dock in Sydney, which is really important. And I'm sure we've all heard the terror stories about doing trade internationally. And for us, that was the prime reason that we've chosen her as our trade partner, is that we deliver to Sydney, and then how it is wholesaled and retailed from there is the problem of the distributor themselves.
Beautiful. How many direct retail customers do you have in Australia?
So currently, Alex, that's probably a question for you. So we probably have about 30 direct retail customers, but retail is the smallest part of our business. So for us, direct to consumer and wholesale are the biggest part of our business.
And do you know the percentage in where they are located? If it's Sydney, Melbourne?
No, so the majority are in Canberra, and then there are a small base in Sydney, but most of our Sydney clients are direct to consumer.
Okay. What are your plans for the existing business, the human conception food?
Yeah, so I think I touched on that a little bit earlier. Our plans are to take the human consumption into the national scale. We've just also recently put on a bit of a gun sales manager who is aiming to grow our existing client base in Canberra and also push into the wholesale Sydney market. So there is a lot of room for growth within the human consumption market as well. And we plan to take that direct to consumer specifically market for human consumption nationally.
Ross has two questions. One is the standard question, he said. Having started this business, what would prevent established businesses from producing a similar product?
Well, anyone could do it if they owned a farm and they had a complete vertically integrated supply chain for sure. I think that, of course, any business, anyone can start on their own. But I think the big part of our business is, one, we are the farmer, we are the producer, we are the supplier. So we do have control of the whole supply chain, and that is pretty unique. Additionally, anyone can start it, but not everyone is us. We take great pride in being really, really good at what we do. Our customer service is second to none. And the fact that they can ring up and speak to the farmer and the producer, that's a pretty unique situation that not everyone can offer.
Yeah. And the second question I can probably answer, it was, what is your ask for investors? Just jumping here and letting everybody know about the phase of the process we're in now. We're in the expression of interest stage, which means that we're getting market feedback and kind of getting validation on in terms of the offer, the valuation, the share price, the investors in the businesses, everything else. You're going to have all of this information in a document called the offer document that we're working together with Stacey and Alex to put it in for you. You're going to have access to all of that in the offer phase, so you can read it all before you make a decision. Anything else you'd like to add to that? Or was it answer good? Good. Any more questions? I'm just going to wait a few more minutes. In the meantime, Stacey, how do you intend to communicate with investors? How do you intend to bring them into the journey?
Yeah, so absolutely bringing them in. Like for us, it's not, we don't want to just get shareholders that we forget about. We want to make sure that they are genuinely part of our journey moving forward. So regular email communications, phone calls, updates, as well as for people local to the farm tours. And we also have investor incentives like long table lunches, cooking classes, things like that for people more locally, and things that are worthwhile for people to come from a little bit further far afield. But we absolutely have the intention of having a really regular, just quick video update over the email so everyone knows where everything's up to and everyone can stay excited about the process with us.
Amazing. Jen asked, what are the next steps between Birchal and us? I can answer that as well. So the expression of interest phase is going to end in 13 days, more or less, and then we open the offer. If you already register your interest, you can invest before anybody else in the market. We keep this just for the EOI investors for 48 hours, so you can invest before anybody else sees it, and then we go public. So we highly recommend, yeah, go on.
All right. Also to note that if you do invest in that first 48-hour period, there are a high level of investor incentives. So the idea is that if you invest in the first 48 hours, there'll be a much better incentive program for you.
And Jen, if you hadn't expressed interest yet, I'm going to send you the link in here.
It's the Jen I'm thinking of, she has. I got an email from her this morning.
Oh, beautiful. So she's in. Yeah, keep an eye on the emails. The girls are always sending emails to keep everyone updated. They're having some more conversations with investors this week, and we're going to open the offer very, very soon. What is the minimal number you need to raise to be able to switch on the pet food channel?
Yeah, so the pet food channel, we have already started that ball rolling. So there is no number that is a minimum that we can achieve that. And getting to our goals, we can do right now. It's just they will be much quicker, and our efficiencies within the process will be much more efficient if we have a higher level of automation within our program. So nothing will be unachievable. It will just be a slower burn. And from our point of view, our level of efficiency will be lower doing it the way we're doing it currently.
Beautiful. There's a question about exit for an investor. At this point, I can probably jump in here as well. For those on those webinars, it might be the first time that you're investing through an equity crowdfunding platform, but just to highlight this kind of asset class, when you buy shares in a company like Claystone through a platform like Birchal, you're buying a fully owned ordinary shares in either a private or public company. But essentially, for you to get a return on this investment, includes a trade purchase of the company or a listing into a stock exchange like the ASX, or a private equity investment firm invest in the company, or the company in the future can do a share buyback as well. There's no guarantee that any of these X options will eventuate. And due to the legislation in Australia, we're not allowed to present any information to investors that could be considered misleading, such as any projections or assumptions on a reasonable basis. I hope that makes sense, but if that is not clear, please ask again and I will do my best. Jen said yes to cooking classes, so you already have approval on that, and I would love to get involved as well. Jane is asking, is beef your only meat product, or are you planning to add chicken, pork, lamb?
Yeah, so we already do beef and lamb direct to consumer, and on a wholesale level, we already do beef, lamb, chicken, and pork. So basically, if it's not from the sea, we do it. And as time allows, we will be extending our direct to consumer line to, there is a little bit of chicken on there now and a little bit of pork, but we do intend to extend those. Having said that, we will only ever produce ourselves lamb and beef. We will never be chicken or pork farmers. Contrary to my husband's belief of the amount of chickens we have at home, but we will never produce pork or chicken, but we will always source from businesses that align with us.
Awesome. Desmond is asking, are you only going to be selling all of your own produce, or are you getting other producers involved as well in your chain?
Yeah, absolutely. So not only other producers, but other suppliers that we're able to get products that align with us from, and they have. So I guess Leela touched on this earlier. We kind of say it's like going to a bottle shop and having the people there say to you, this is a great bottle of wine, you're going to enjoy it. We believe that it is in line with everything that you want, and it's going to be a great bottle of wine. It's like that with our meat. So why we won't always be able to produce it all, because the volume that we're selling, we are getting meats in that we believe you will enjoy. It will be a great quality meat, and you will eat it knowing that you're having a really good experience.
Beautiful. Robert is asking about paying dividends or a liquidity event. So I'm going to send a link here that it might be able to justify. But again, any further questions, let us know. Deborah is asking, down the track, are you looking to expand into other international markets? And if so, which ones?
Yeah, so yeah, absolutely great question. Definitely, we were going to go to Singapore in April, but that just didn't line up with my child broke some arms and things happened. So we didn't end up going to Singapore in April, but we're definitely looking at the Singapore market. We currently have an existing shareholder that has a very strong connection to a bricks and mortar store in America. And so they would be the two markets that we look at next. And then the third option would be Japan. So Singapore and America and Japan would be the other ones that we have earmarked in the short term.
Beautiful. Robert is asking, does it come?
Sorry. Having said that, sorry, Leila. Having said that, from a human consumption point of view, we would be looking to the Middle East for export of human consumption meats.
Middle East.
And we are currently so I'm not sure if anyone's aware of the process to get your export license. It's very complicated and very time consuming. And we are literally in the last weeks of getting our export license for both human consumption and pet food. And that's been a process that's been well over a year in the making. So once we have that, we've got our licensing approval for a huge range of countries so that we can go on any opportunities that come our way.
Beautiful. Robert, really good question. Does the company own the farm, or the farm is owned by you and separated is?
That's correct. Yeah. So it's my family farm. So yeah, it's separate to the business. So the Claystone Holdings is the butchery and the pet food.
I have a few more questions coming up here, so I'm just going to wait for a second. Would you like to touch base on the investor rewards a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely.
Still finalizing that.
Yeah, we are still finalizing it. But the tricky thing is, because we know we're going to have investors near and far, so we want to make sure that the investor rewards are able to be enticing to people that are close in vicinity, things like cooking classes, and obviously percentage off products for people that are a little bit further away. Also things like an annual gift box, whether that be a Christmas ham or a meat box. So once a year you can put in for your gift box that you would get. So there are some pretty good incentives that we should probably keep under our hat for now, but definitely we're ensuring that the incentives will incentivize those that are close by and those that are further afield.
Yeah, really good idea. How do you plan to utilize the funds raised from the investment round? So obviously we're going to have a minimum and a maximum target. We're still discussing that, but how do you plan to utilize these funds?
Sorry, you dropped out a little bit, but I think I know what you said. So the big thing will be to automate our processes and to get our business moving in the most efficient manner. So pet food production as a whole has a really great profit margin in it, and the human consumption is a smaller profit. So it's really important that we are able to automate as many processes as we can and make sure that we're making ourselves as efficient as possible. So the funds used will be to expand premises and to automate processes and to buy things in bulk, like hundreds of thousands of bags, not hundreds of bags, labels on a big scale, all those things. For a company that's been bootstrapping from day one, we haven't had the ability to go and buy a shipping container of bags, but we need to be able to do those kind of things so that we're increasing our profit margins across the board.
Awesome. Any more questions? Just waiting for them to come up. Stacey, were you targeting China, or that kind of happened?
It kind of happened. So we have a connection in Canberra with the Australia-China Trade Association that we've just it was literally almost day one of Claystone being opened. We fell upon that relationship, and we've kind of stayed in contact over the years. And then they approached us to go to China, and it was a no initially. And I guess because also, and I'll put my ignorance out there, I didn't quite understand the pet market in China fully. I didn't really understand everything about it. And then I guess when you look at it, because of the single child policy, all the people of childbearing ages are men, because there aren't a lot of women from that kind of age. So all those men with a really great income, they are having pets and dogs as babies. So when you look into the market there, it is absolutely mind-blowing. So that middle to upper class with a great disposable income, they all have pets, not children now, because there's such a high portion of their that are all male. So yeah, it's actually crazy, and it was really interesting to learn more about.
That's so interesting. I don't think we had this conversation before.
There you go.
That's very interesting. We learn something new every day.
There you go.
Desmond is asking, does the business have any debt as the present or the company intending to take any debt on further expansion?
Yeah, so all of that will be in the offer document, and we have got a very small amount of debt. And if I'm fully transparent, if I started this business again, I would have gone to the bank and got a loan for $1 million and done it all very differently. But we did not see this business growing like it did. So we've taken on little bits of debt along the way, but it is very insignificant debt, but it's absolutely all in the offer document and super transparent for everyone to see.
Yeah. And also during the offer, she puts her number out there and email and everything else. So if you have any questions, you can just jump on a quick call.
100%, absolutely. Anyone can, and I'm working through calling lots of people on that list. So, I mean, everyone's more than welcome to call with any questions.
Sweet. Robert is saying, sorry for the awkward question, Stacey.
No.
Can you talk a bit about the farm ownership relationship with the parents, just in terms of the long-term land tenure?
So with my parents?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're in a succession planning phase, and my parents don't really have that much to do with the farm. So we're just in a succession planning phase. There's no foreseeable problems with that in the future. I have 2 siblings, neither of them have an interest in the farm, so that makes the succession planning a whole lot easier from us.
That was a really good question, Robert. Alex, in the meantime, while we wait for more questions, would you like to share what excites you about the company? Why did you decide to join? What was your angle there?
Yeah, thanks for the question. Look, it's a really great team here, and obviously it's all the potential. So it's what we've already done and achieved, and just the energy that we're that we're vibrating at the moment. But of course, it's all about the rubber when the rubber hits the road. And to be honest, the pet food line is what is really going to skyrocket us into a multi-million-dollar business, probably monthly if the numbers. Oh, sorry, I can't say that. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Lil.
I'm untrained. I'm untrained.
You can't say that.
Okay, well, okay, I'm not going to lie. That is what is exciting me. But it's just really working here, being part of the industry, and really going to automation. We're about to expand in the next few weeks again, but it's also it's just we're learning something new all the time. But we've got our practices down, and we want to really see them multiply by volume, as well as getting our products around the globe.
Yeah, great answer. I would join to see Stacey on a horse. That for me was the highlight of the video. I loved it. She sent me just a snippet of it, and she said, do you think this is bad? And I was like, this is amazing. This is you in a nutshell. I think that's all the questions for today. The questions were really, really good. I feel the investors are really engaged and they have really good questions. Oops, we have more. As we were saying, what sort of margins are you projecting on the pet food products comparing to the human consumption products?
Yeah. Hey, Desmond. I left you a voicemail, but that's okay. So the margins that we're running out on the pet food right now is the pet food's 115% profit, and the human consumption food is across the board about 30%. So there is a significant difference, and that is why it's really important that and I'd also point out that's the profit on both of those running at the least, not the least efficient, but we aren't running things as efficiently as we can because we haven't got all our processes automated. So once we have our processes automated, we're able to increase the profit margin on both of those lines by being more efficient, more effective, and more concise in the way that we operate. And with the building labour, Canberra labour market is always a fun one. I found the question box, and so I just jumped ahead. Sorry, Leila.
Look at you, you're a tech founder.
I'm so tech savvy. So obviously the Canberra labour market is a difficult place. Having said that, we've been able to build a really good team, and I think that most of our employees have been with us long term because we have a really great culture here. So absolutely, building labor is always going to be a problem. I think that is the case with any business. I would be lying if I didn't say that. But I think that our point of difference is, I think, Alex, that we're able to retain staff really well.
You seem to have a lot of energy. Yeah. So must be an edge in terms of building teams so you have a good labor pool, particularly in processing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that point talks to our point. Like, we are a really energetic group. And it just resonates with people. People love the positive with there. We just don't let there be bad attitudes here. We've never had to really worry about it. People that have a bad attitude, they don't last here because it's not part of our culture. So it's good.
Good. Deborah is asking, does the design of your pet food packaging appeal to the Chinese aesthetic? Do you know?
So absolutely. That's an excellent question. So the Chinese buyer, she has and will continue to design her own packaging, because, to Deborah's point, the way that they market what is appealing over to the Chinese market is slightly more like a cartoonish vibe, and that isn't as appealing to the domestic market. So there will be two different package lines. Also, our chosen trade partner, she owns a packaging manufacturer, so that makes it really easy for her to be able to produce the packaging she likes.
Beautiful. Really good question. We have to consider all of that when expanding overseas. As a whole new market. We think that everybody's gonna have the same buying preferences, but it's not how it works.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And we also recognize that, spitballing ideas with our American counterparts, what the packaging would look like over there, again, would be different to what it is here and what it is in China.
Good. Any more questions? You're on fire. Here we go. What is your past lived experience with business? That's other good question.
Good question. So I'm a dyslexic farmer. So my lived experience has been on the job. So, and as I say, like, we didn't start this business thinking it would be where it is. So I've absolutely had to grow and learn with the business. And I think that I've done a pretty good job of educating myself as to what I need. But also, on top of that, I found the right people to ask questions from. We've got an amazing mentor group. And we also have an amazing group of support around us that if I don't have the skills, I have absolutely no problem in finding the right person for that job and learning from them so that I'm able to do a better job in the future. But absolutely, do I have the most business experience? Absolutely not. Will I work day and night to make sure that I learn whatever it is I need to? 100%.
No doubt. Jen is asking, will the Chinese partner package it over there? If so, how do you monitor the quality?
No, so we would get the packaging here, and the packaging she provides will be in line with obviously what our equipment is here, because there's no good her supplying packaging that looks great, but we have to fill by hand. So we're working with her to ensure that the packaging she's designing, we can fill on our existing machines that we have in place. So no, we would be doing all of that here, and then it's boxed and shipped to Sydney.
Awesome. Have you met any other companies that is doing the same or going through the same process?
Yeah, so the trade fair in Shanghai was really interesting to deal with people that were also starting off like us, but people that have been doing it for years, and they're the people that we really want to speak to because they've got all the tips and tricks. And the number one thing that everyone said to us was really fight to get that delivered to Sydney, and your invoice from Sydney, and or half in Sydney and half in Shanghai. And to be honest, I didn't even know that would be a possibility. I thought we would have to deal with the freight insurance and all the things, but it's definitely much more common than you think.
Interesting.
I don't burn out.
Alex, that's one for you.
Bound to burnout.
Fine.
We have strict downtime and Moscato. No. Yeah, well, there's no stopping her. She's a force of nature, as you can probably see, and but we're all working hard to match that energy of Stacey's. You'd be amazed how much she can do in an hour. It's pretty amazing to watch. So, but thanks for that. I'll make a note, and downtime policy.
She can give me a massage every lunch. That'd be great.
Careful your asshole. Okay.
You talked about going B2C nationally, but logistically, costs are crushing business. How do you see that playing out for the human?
So we've got some partnerships in place that would allow us to warehouse around the country and then have them shipped from there, and loaded out from there. Because I completely agree, sending individual orders is not feasible, either B2C or D2C. So we would be having warehousing around the country that allows us not only to ship more efficiently, but also that's the only way we would be able to facilitate having a non-frozen product is by having those warehouses in place.
Awesome. Any idea when are you planning to put this in place?
Well, really, when the crowdfunding round ends, only because of time constraints, and we're currently moving facilities from where we are to our new facility. So there are only so many hours in the day, and that is the next thing on the board.
Stacey, how can investors help you right now, apart from obviously investing? What else can they do to support the business?
Yeah, absolutely. If you haven't tried our product, give it a try. Give me a call and we'll get you samples of pet food out. If you're a pet food person, if you're a human consumption person, send me a text and we'll absolutely get you a discount code so that you can get on and try our product. Just tell everyone that Claystone exists and we're doing pretty well. So we would love for everyone to know about our brand. We're so proud of what we're doing, and we just want everyone to know it exists.
Beautiful. I think that brings us to the end of the session, unless we have more. We do have more questions. I've been pet food vending machines in Canberra. Is there any possible plans for that?
Yeah, so that's very interesting, Deb. We have actually been talking to some strata management people about putting vending machines in high rises in Sydney and Canberra, for the reason that it is super convenient as far as for taking your pet for a walk, want a snack, doggy bags, all those things. So we are currently dealing with some strata management teams to try and get that very process in place.
Deborah, that's super interesting. I've never seen that in either Sydney or Melbourne, but I'm gonna keep an eye out.
Yeah, it's definitely there's one in Canberra that I'm aware of, and there's definitely none in strata management as it stands.
Interesting. Are there any roles that you'd like to fill in the near future that you think that this investor group might be able to refer through?
Yeah, so look, I mean, the sales is the big thing for us, right? If people don't know we exist, then we aren't going to grow. So definitely we would love to be filling more roles in sales, and that's probably our number one spot that we need to focus on. And then marketing. So definitely as we continue to grow, we need to continue to scale up our marketing, and that's definitely a weakness of mine. So that's probably my answer.
And if Mo wants to send a CV, does it go to Alex?
Sure.
Cool. Do you want to tell us how it has been the experience so far? It's a lot of ups and downs, good days, bad days, a lot of work, but in general, how has been, especially getting the support of people that you know or new investors?
It's incredible to look through the list of people that have put expressions of interest in and who the people are that are supporting us. It's amazing that some people have just been customers from day one. Some people I haven't spoken to since school. So it's a really diverse group of people. And I found the process, to be honest, and I think I said this to you on the very first day we met, Leela, crowdfunding, I didn't understand it from a shares for business. I thought, my dog has a sore leg. Can you give me money to help? I didn't really understand how it works. So it's been really interesting to learn all that myself, but also educate the people around me to say, it's not a donation. You're owning shares in our company. You're going to move forward with us, with our journey for the future. So it's definitely been an interesting process, and a lot of work behind it, which I actually think is really validating, because we're asking for a lot of money, and we're asking for people's money, which I absolutely do not take lightly. I understand the value of $1 and how hard it is. So I appreciate every cent anyone was to invest in our business. And I think the work that we've put into it has been really interesting, and makes the process feel really solid. I'm not really sure how to explain that very well.
That was really well explained. Robert, is your sales and logistics software bespoke or off the shelf?
Yeah, so there's two different sales and logistics packages we use, one for wholesale and one for direct to consumer. So wholesale, we use a program called Fresho. It's really effective for our kind of business. It's really aimed at people like us, fruit and veggies, because it's able to have a lot of variables in it. And then for direct to consumer, we use Shopify. So they're both platforms that work really well for us.
Beautiful. Any further questions? I'm really impressed with the level of the questions here today. It was one of the best I've seen. I would say that this brings us to the end of the session. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I hope that was insightful. Definitely it was for me. That offer is going to go live very, very soon. So keep an eye on your emails. Stacey is going to be in contact. And if you haven't expressed your interest yet, please go ahead and do it now. Any final closing remarks from you girls?
No, I don't think so. We just really appreciate and I find it really overwhelming because I just love this business so much. But we just really appreciate that you've taken the time to express interest. You've taken time out of your day to listen to me talk really fussy and ramble. And I just appreciate, if you never invest a cent, I just appreciate your time. But invest lots of cents. I'd like that too.
Thank you so much, Stacey and Alex, for your time. Thanks everyone for
Anytime.
joining. I'll see you shortly.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Leila. Thanks, everyone.